Chapter 2. A violent blow to the head may cause a sudden movement of the brain inside the skull. This may result in tearing of brain tissue, plus microscopic bleeding and possible structural damage. Nerve cell connections will probably be severed and impulses cannot be transmitted. The result is various levels of unconsciousness or, if damage is severe, extensive loss of brain functions, including complete brain death. Ryan. In the headlights, I saw her face. Brown hair, swinging as she turned to stare at us. Brown eyes, stretched wide and startled. Then she hit the windscreen. The Subaru seemed to scoop her up and throw her at us. Her head hit the glass between me and Vince. There was this thok sound, like a basketball smacking down on the floor. Then the windscreen broke. Oh, Christ. Her head broke the windscreen. Lines ran across the glass in all directions. The screen began crumbling, dissolving, dropping in little bits onto the dashboard. I couldn't see a thing. Beside me, Vince was yelling, "Oh shit, oh shit!" Ash's hands gripped the back of my seat so hard I thought he was going to tear it off. My arms and legs had gone stiff as steel rods. My right foot was jammed on the brake, and I heard the tyres shriek and slip on the wet road. Vince and I were flung forwards against the seatbelts. Blind behind the crazed, cracked windscreen, I twisted the steering wheel. The car slewed sideways, smacked into the curb and stopped. The engine stalled. For 2 seconds, maybe, we sat there in complete silence. I already knew that I'd done the very worst thing in the world. Tara. The front of the car hit me and knocked the wind out of me. I felt myself lifted up. For a moment, I saw these 2 guys' faces gaping at me. They looked totally stupid, like guys often do, and scared shitless. Another weird thought skidded through my mind. I haven't had a shower. If I'm hurt and I have to see a doctor, I'm going to pong. My head filled with heat suddenly, red, swelling heat, trying to burst out. I heard a roaring, shuddering noise. I was in midair, arms and legs stretched out. Then everything, the car, the guys, me, went rushing and shrinking together in a tiny glare of light, and I sank into the dark. Ryan. The silence in the car didn't last. Vince started mouthing again. Oh no, oh shit! I felt wild at him for being such a dork. I started heaving at the door to get out. The windscreen was like a cracked ice sheet in front of me. I couldn't tell if the girl was on the bonnet or on the road or what. I was halfway out when Ash grabbed me. The hazard lights! Put the hazard lights on! I reached out and pressed the switch. The car door swung back shut and the little lumps of windscreen collapsed into my lap. John is going to be so pissed off, a corner of my mind told me stupidly. I stepped out into the rain and darkness. The lights of the pedestrian crossing blinked on, off, on, off. Nothing on the bonnet, nothing on the ground in front of the car. I even checked the roof and the road behind, feeling my hands squeeze into fists as I looked. No sign. The girl had vanished. A wild hope rushed up in me. She'd taken off. She'd been so embarrassed that she didn't want to talk to anyone, and she'd taken off. Even as I thought it, I knew it wasn't true. And right then, Ash grabbed my arm and pointed ahead. There! It couldn't be. It couldn't. The dark huddle on the road was 20 meters away, as far as a bloody cricket pitch. She couldn't have been thrown that far. Come on! Ash sprinted towards her. Vince ran too, babbling, I'm sorry, mate. Geez, I'm sorry. I stood locked still for half a second, then set off after them. But I knew it was useless. I knew she was dead. Tara. Far away, I felt something rough against my cheek. Rough and wet. I must have fallen over in the shower. My side hurt. Terror rose inside me, like some creature trying to escape. Then the shrinking and the nothingness again. Ryan. The darkness and the way she was lying meant I couldn't see her properly. There was blood in the brown hair, but not much. Maybe the sleeve of her parka was ripped and her t-shirt was pulled up, showing a curve of bare, smooth back with the rain falling on it. I wanted to keep her dry, as if that would somehow make everything okay. I dragged off my jacket and knelt to spread it over her. "Don't touch her," Ash went. "Don't move her." I'm not bloody leaving her, I thought. A car sped past, horn blaring at us where we crouched on the road. "Stupid bastards," yelled Vince. "You'll hit—" He twisted to look at the girl again. "Oh, Christ." I started to snarl something at him. If he hadn't been mucking around. Coldness swelled inside me. I laid my jacket over the tumbled shape. More headlights were coming towards us. My body felt stiff and heavy, but I forced myself forward, arms waving. The car slowed and stopped. A guy peered at me suspiciously through the side window. "A cell phone?" I shouted. "You got a cell phone? There's a girl hurt." The guy took another look at me, then his window slid down. "You need an ambulance?" "Yeah, quick, as quick as they can." But it wasn't going to do any good. It was too late. Another car went past, dazzling me with its headlights. I lifted a hand in front of my eyes. Didn't the stupid sods understand what was happening? "Where are we?" It was the guy on the cell phone. "For the ambulance. Where are we?" I started to answer, but my tongue felt heavy and clotted, and Ash beat me to it. "Lithgow Street, just round the corner from Pascoe Avenue." The guy nodded and spoke into his phone. "They're on their way," he said, as he got out of the car. "What happened? Is she bad?" "She came straight out in front of us," Vince said. Again, I remembered him being an idiot, me taking my eyes off the road. I said nothing. The guy from the car stood holding a big umbrella over the girl. Another couple of drivers had stopped, and people were coming out of their houses. I heard voices. "What's going on? Some girl got hurt." I made myself move again. I strode over to where the girl lay sprawled and knelt beside her once more. The guy with the umbrella said something, but I took no notice. I stretched out a hand, then pulled it back. I sucked in a breath, reached out a second time, and rested 2 fingers on the side of her neck, beside the jaw, like the tawdust in first aid at Taekwondo. Her skin was still warm. There hadn't been enough time to. Then my body jerked as if someone had shoved me. I made a grunting noise, tried to hold myself still. Felt again. Under my fingers a pulse flickered, ragged and feeble, but there. She was alive. I lifted my face into the rain. "Come on," I bawled. "Come on." An impact severe enough to cause brain injury through tearing of tissues and nerve connections may also damage other organs. The violent movement may result in contusion, bruising, of the heart in its chest cavity. Kidneys and liver may suffer harm as well. Ryan. On the footpath, a woman from one of the houses was gabbling on. "Oh, it's awful the way some of them tear along here. I always knew something would happen." I wanted to scream and swear at her. Instead, I yelled, "Get a blanket. Go on, get a blanket." She stared at me and went. Vince and Ash stood together, silent. The girl hadn't moved or made a sound. I saw that one of her sneakers was missing, but she was breathing, and there wasn't much blood. She might just be knocked out. It might be all right. I knelt beside her once more, hugging myself and mumbling. I was soaked with rain now. A siren grew behind me, and an ambulance swung round the corner, blue lights flashing on the wet road. It pulled in behind the Subaru, and 2 figures jumped out. A man and a woman, moving fast but calm. I stumbled towards them. "Who's hurt?" the woman asked. Her eyes scanned me, Vince, Ash. At first I couldn't speak. I blurted, "Girl, there," and pointed. They set off at a jog to where the guy stood with the umbrella. The ambulance man carried a plastic box. They squatted down beside the silent shape on the road. After a moment, they looked at each other. The moment I saw that look, I knew it wasn't going to be all right.